You've seen it, probably tonight. Your dog, sound asleep on the couch or pressed against your leg, suddenly starts twitching, paws moving, little muffled sounds coming from somewhere deep in their throat. Maybe their legs start going, like they're running somewhere you can't see. You've probably said it out loud, "They're dreaming," and then smiled and moved on without ever asking, what are they actually dreaming about? Because here's the thing. You assumed it was rabbits, squirrels, the park, dinner, something generic, something animal. But neuroscientists have been recording what happens inside the sleeping mammalian brain for over 3 decades now. And what they've found isn't vague, it isn't cute, it's extraordinarily specific. Your dog's brain, during sleep, replays the day, not randomly, in sequence. And the subject that dominates those sequences isn't food, it isn't other dogs, it's you. Let's start with why we're even allowed to say that. In 2001, researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology placed electrode arrays into the hippocampi of laboratory rats. They trained these rats to run a specific maze for a food reward and recorded the exact firing pattern of their neurons, which cells fired, in what order, at what speed. Then they let them sleep. And during REM sleep, the phase where dreaming occurs, those exact same neurons fired again, in the exact same sequence. The brain was replaying the maze, not approximately, precisely. But here's the part that didn't make the headlines. When the rats paused at the end of the maze, still awake, right after eating the reward, their brains executed something the researchers called instant reverse replay. The entire sequence of neurons fired backwards, in a fraction of a second, at a virtual speed of 8 meters per second. The brain was rewinding the tape, from reward to starting line, evaluating what led to success. Now, dogs share the same hippocampal architecture, the same sleep stages, the same REM theta rhythms. Every neuroscientist working in this field agrees. If rats replay their day, dogs replay theirs. The only difference is what fills the replay. Dr. Deirdre Barrett, a clinical and evolutionary psychologist at Harvard Medical School, has spent decades studying the relationship between waking life and dream content. Her conclusion, applied to dogs, follows what's called the continuity hypothesis. It means, you dream about whatever dominates your waking attention. For a rat, that's the maze. For a human, it's work, relationships, stress, people you love. For a dog, a domestic dog, whose entire psychological, emotional, and survival world revolves around one person, the answer is obvious. Since dogs are generally extremely attached to their human owners, it's likely your dog is dreaming of your face, your smell, and of pleasing or annoying you. That's a direct quote from a Harvard researcher, not a guess, a deduction from 30 years of sleep science. Your dog closes its eyes, and you're the first thing that appears, and they do it more often than you'd think. Research on dream frequency by breed size reveals something most owners don't know. Smaller dogs enter REM sleep more frequently, roughly every 10 minutes, but their dreams are short, maybe 30 seconds each. Large breeds, golden retrievers, Great Danes, mastiffs, dream far less often, once every 45 to 90 minutes. But when they do, a single dream can last up to 4 minutes. Think about that. A golden retriever lying at your feet right now might be experiencing a 4-minute continuous replay of this morning's walk, in full neural detail, with you right there in it. And here's where it gets specific, because the continuity hypothesis doesn't just apply to who your dog thinks about, it applies to what they do. When the brain's paralysis system, a brainstem structure called the pons, is incomplete, which happens naturally in puppies and elderly dogs, the body acts out fragments of the dream. Researchers have observed pointers during REM sleep, subtly pointing at dream birds, English Springer Spaniels performing flushing behaviors, driving imaginary prey from the brush, Doberman pinschers standing guard against dream intruders. A Labrador retriever's dream is far more likely to feature retrieving a tennis ball than a pug's. The dream isn't random, it's a rehearsal of everything that dog was built to do. But the most extraordinary finding came from Cornell University in 2022. Using advanced brain imaging, researchers mapped the white matter pathways in 23 dogs, and they discovered a neural connection that doesn't exist in humans. A massive tract linking the olfactory bulb, the brain's smell processing center, directly to the occipital lobe, the visual cortex. In humans, smell triggers memory. In dogs, smell triggers vision. Their brains literally convert scent into spatial three-dimensional maps, which means, and this is the part that stopped me, a completely blind dog can still see in its dreams, not through light, through smell. A blind dog dreaming of a walk in the park isn't experiencing darkness. It's navigating a rich, detailed, scent-constructed landscape that its brain processes as spatial vision. We've never seen this connection between the nose and the occipital lobe in any species. Your dog doesn't just dream about you, it dreams about how you smell. And in its brain, that's the same thing as seeing your face. Now here's the part that ties it all together. At Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest, the world's leading dog cognition lab, researchers measured the sleep of 42 family dogs. Each dog slept twice in a novel environment, once with their owner present, once with a friendly stranger. The results were unambiguous. When the owner was in the room, dogs fell asleep faster, slept more efficiently, and spent significantly more time in deep, restorative, non-REM sleep, the stage where the brain consolidates memories. When the owner left and a stranger stayed, all of those metrics worsened. This is what attachment researchers call the safe haven effect. Your dog's nervous system literally cannot reach its deepest, most restorative state without you nearby. But here's what most people miss. A 2023 follow-up from the same lab found that the higher the dog's attachment score, measured through a structured behavioral test, the more NREM sleep it achieved in the owner's presence. The attachment bond wasn't just emotional, it was architecturally wired into the dog's sleep. Your presence doesn't just comfort them, it changes the physical structure of their brain activity while they sleep. So let's address the thing most people get wrong. You see your dog twitching, whimpering, maybe their legs are going hard. You reach out to comfort them. Don't. Veterinary behaviorists strongly advise against touching a dog during active REM sleep. The dog's brain is fully immersed in a vivid simulation. Maybe they're chasing something. Maybe they're running. If you touch them mid-dream, the startling physical contact can be integrated into the dream narrative as an attack. The result, an involuntary, defensive bite, not aggression. Reflex. If you truly need to wake them, drop something on the floor. Call their name. Let the sound wake them before your hand does. The twitching itself isn't distress, it's the brain's paralysis system, the pons, letting small motor signals through. It's more pronounced in puppies because the pons is still developing, and in senior dogs because it's starting to degrade. Both age groups will twitch the hardest, and both are perfectly fine. And there's one more finding that sits with me. When researchers compared the sleep patterns of domestic dogs with extensively socialized wolves raised from birth by humans, they found something startling. Wolves maintain high levels of REM sleep well into old age, up to 48% of total sleep time. Senior domestic dogs, their REM drops to almost nothing, between 1% and 8%. The working theory is this. Wolves need to dream because they need to process threats, territorial information, pack dynamics, independently. Their survival depends on constant neurological rehearsal. Dogs don't need that anymore. They've outsourced their survival to you. Over 15,000 years of domestication, dogs have evolved to use your nervous system as their external regulator. Your presence calms them. Your heartbeat slows theirs. Your cortisol levels predict theirs. And in your presence, their brain doesn't need as much REM because it has already decided, on a biological level, that you are handling the threats. They dream less because they trust more. So the next time you see it, the twitching paws, the soft bark, the way their face moves as if they're seeing something you can't, know this. Somewhere in that brain, a sequence of neurons is replaying, a walk you took, a moment you shared, the smell of your coat when you came home, the sound of your keys. They're not chasing a rabbit, they're replaying you, and the only reason that replay exists, the only reason the dream can form at all, is because their brain has decided, after thousands of years of evolutionary convergence, that you are the most important thing in their world. Not food, not territory, not safety, you. If this changed the way you see those quiet moments on the couch, subscribe and leave a comment. What does your dog do in their sleep? Does your dog twitch more at certain times? I'd love to hear.
Thank you for being here. Every video we make is built on real research, real papers, real science. If you want to support the work, the best thing you can do is share this with someone who loves their dog. See you in the next one.